Today on the channel, it's a return to the Kyle Peterson Top 5, and with Halloween around the corner, we had to do something spooky, so we're doing the Top 5 Papa Shango figures of all time.
And the spirit of Ultimate Warrior will run forever!
Welcome everyone, Kyle here, and welcome back to the channel for another edition of the Kyle Peterson Top 5. Of course, a Thursday tradition on this YouTube channel every single Thursday. That's why it's a tradition. In today's video, we got something for Halloween. Halloween just a couple of days away as I'm filming this. Thought it'd be a great time to go all out and figure out something in the spooky wrestling world. And who did I come to? Well, the man, the myth, the legend, Papa Shango. And of course, Papa Shango, the first time I heard that name, or when somebody says that name to me, I should say, I think of one thing, him making the Ultimate Warrior puke multiple times. What are we doing, Papa Shango? You leave the Warrior alone. Warrior doesn't need to be puking on camera like this. But it was quite the time as a little kid there. Now I was just like, what is going on here? What is going on? I know this wouldn't work. Warrior would never puke like this, but there was a lot of kids at school at the old playground back in the day that were very traumatized by the Ultimate Warrior puking everywhere. I knew in my heart of hearts Warrior would get his revenge and come from triumphant, but it was definitely quite the scene for Papa Shango. And I remember Papa Shango first coming on the scene like, what the heck is this? I just thought it was really cool, and at first, I was a little kid, of course, watching GWF on ESPN after school, and at first I thought it was Rasta the Voodoo Man. Oh no, Rasta the Voodoo Man has come to the WWF. Then we find out he is actually Papa Shango, and Papa Shango, one of many gimmicks, as we do know, with the Good Father, the Godfather, comma, Nation of Domination, comma, many iconic gimmicks for old Charles Wright out there. But a lot of people, their favorite is Papa Shango to this day, and there was even rumors of Papa Shango coming back in the Attitude Era. That did not happen. And I would say Papa Shango a little underrepresented in a lot of toy lines. And we do got 5 figures here, kinda. And there's going to be a few asterisks in this one here. But I thought it'd be a good one to do for the Halloween season. So that's where we're at. Now, of course, these videos, as usual, get your list together. Put them in the comments down below because this is my list. Yes, my list. You put your list in the comments down below. Make sure you put them in order. That's the hard part. That is the fun part. So without further ado, let's get after it. Let's do it. The Papa Shango Top 5. All right, we kick off the Top 5, and this is one of those ones I talked about an asterisk. There's not a lot of Papa Shango stuff out there, but at number 5, I'm going to go with the Papa Shango Micro Brawler. Now, I do not own his Micro Brawler. I'll put pictures up in this video here. But as far as all the leftover Papa Shango stuff that isn't traditional figures, this one did come out for me. I almost went with the bobblehead. There was an interesting bobblehead that was him and the Godfather combined. But you know what? Micro Brawlers, I have a few of them in my collection. Not a ton, but a few. I dabble. And I thought that was kind of the way to go. And of course, it looks like Papa Shango. Looks neat. Very cartoon-like, of course. But Papa Shango, Micro Brawler, not a lot to be said about it. Is it a figure? That's a little bit debatable. But for this list, trying to get to 5, we're putting it in at number 5. All right, we've hit the number 4 spot in our Papa Shango countdown, and this was where things really kind of start to pick up. Business picking up at number 4 in this countdown. And number 4 is one a lot of us have in our collection, a very popular line that is currently exclusive to Walmart. And heck, if you go to a lot of Walmarts right now, you could probably still grab this off the shelf. We're going to the WWE Superstars line for Papa Shango. And a very cool one because Papa Shango really fits in the cartoony look of these. The He-Man style, I think he works very well for this. And of course, the big selling point on this one is all the accessories. Of course, the very cool Lando Calrissian inspired cape. It is always inspired by Lando. But a beautiful cape going on, the necklace, the hat, and of course, the look of Papa Shango that we've grown to love. Just a lot to like about this one, and a lot of people have actually taken this stuff off and put this on his Elite figure to kind of dress up his Elite figure. Great idea. If he did have a basic, I would probably do that. I'd grab this, put it on a basic, really dress up that basic figure. But a very good Papa Shango for what this represents. A lot of people have this a lot higher on their list than I probably do. I kind of did my order, and this was a little higher, and then at the last minute, it kind of slid down a little bit for me, and that's kind of how these lists go. And these lists, they always do ebbs and flows, of course, as we do know as well. But as of right now, this Papa Shango Superstars Walmart exclusive coming in at number 4. We've hit the halfway point in the Papa Shango countdown. Make sure you get your list together. Make sure you put it in the comments down below. And the number 3 one for me, interesting one of those asterisk ones. You can really go either way. They really are the same figure at the end of the day. But is it the Hall of Champions Target exclusive 2-pack from Ultimate Warrior or WWE Elite Series 12 Papa Shango? Of course, pick your poison on that one. Really, the only difference between the two is the bigger emblem on the chest, and this one, I believe, is the Hall of Champions version. This is probably the preferred one. I like the logo a little bit bigger, but it's really a pick-em. It's basically the same figure. I guess technically you could say this is number 5, the number 12 is number 4. I mean, you could do something like that if you want to, but to me, I couldn't split these two. They're basically the same figure. I'm putting it at number 3 here. And of course, I do prefer the Ultimate Warrior 2-pack. As I talked about at the beginning, when I think of Papa Shango, that is my biggest Papa Shango memory. So that's where I'm going to lean towards. But a very cool one here. An interesting one to get re-released, and just the changes. Always interesting with that kind of stuff. But I do like this one, and of course, the connection to the Ultimate Warrior makes it a little bit stronger. But a good figure of Papa Shango would not be a bad one to get a reran. I gotta think our best Papa Shango figure ever still awaits us. Where some of the Rock figures, for example, or maybe even Bret Hart, who knows? Some of the guys that have had tons and tons of figures, you can very easily say, well, the best has been done. They'll never top this figure, and you can argue that for a lot of stuff. Papa Shango, on the other hand, I do feel Mattel has an Elite or maybe an Ultimate in the future that will definitely top this one. So hopefully we get that maybe next year, 2024. Who knows what is time? But one thing I do know for sure, the Mattel Elite coming in at number 3. Dangerously close to the top spot. We're at the number 2 spot in our Papa Shango top 5 countdown. And this is one of those ones that was a little higher on the list and went down a little bit. Now it did end up settling in at number 2. It'll be interesting to see where it is on your guys' list. But number 2 for me, we're going to Jakks Class Superstars. We're going to Papa Shango here. And I'll never forget when this was released. And of course, you guys know me. I got a Classic Superstars bias. I love me some Classic Superstars. So when this came out, it was playing a lot of hits for me. Thought it was really cool. And it still holds up very, very well. The tattoo work, the design, the hat, the necklace, the face paint. You know me, sucker for face paint. An all-around good representation. And I think it does squeak out the Mattel. Obviously, it doesn't have the Mattel more modern articulation. But for what this was at the time, being a part of Classic Superstars, and I just like the size and the look of this one. There was no denying on this one for me that it had to stick at number 2. I went back and forth with the Mattel one, like I did say, but this one ended up being the clear-cut winner for me, making it the number 2 Papa Shango figure for me. So number 2, Classic Superstars, Papa Shango. That leaves us with one left. What is the number 1 Papa Shango figure of all time? Stay tuned. Here we are. We've hit the number 1 spot in our top 5 Papa Shango countdown. Once again, make sure you get your list together. Make sure you put it in the comments down below. Make sure you put it in order. That is always the hard part, but that is also the fun part. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel. We got these countdowns every Thursday. And check out the other YouTube channel, Kyle Peterson 2.0. Make sure you subscribe over there, as we got a countdown video over there as well every single week. So check it out. Check out both channels. Lots of content, as you guys know. But here we are at the number 1 spot, the number 1 Papa Shango figure of all time. And once again, nostalgia rules. Nostalgia wins over. I am going to the Hasbro Papa Shango figure. And this is an interesting list, this whole top 5, because outside of number 5 one, all of them kind of mixed and matched and moved around. Every day I kind of look at it, redo my list until I just finally have to settle on something. And this is where we went. I went with nostalgia. I remember back as a little kid getting this figure. And of course, it was such a big deal. It was such a big thrill when you were a little kid and you got a new figure into your Fig Fed. It just messed up things. New champions would be crowned. It would have new feuds, just new playing opportunities. And Papa Shango, like a lot of the Hasbros back in the day, brought that all day long to my Fig Fed playing. Of course, you know I'm a sucker for guys in face paint. He had matches with Hogan. He had matches with Macho Man. He had matches with everybody, including the Ultimate Warrior. A fun one to bring in and to play with as a little kid. And that's what it's about at the end of the day. Growing up, playing with some of this stuff, having those nostalgic feelings. Papa Shango brought that to me, and I couldn't put this behind some of the other ones. I like the Classic, I like the Elite, I like the Superstar, but this one's been with me the longest in my life. This is the one I had the most fun with, if you could say that. So there was no doubt the Hasbro was coming in at number 1 for me. So there it is, number 1, Hasbro Papa Shango. But there it is. What is your list looking like? Put it in the comments like I did say. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all the fun stuff we always tell you to do. And don't forget about the Patreon for early access to videos like this, bonus content, exclusive content, giveaways, Q&As, you name it. And best of all, you do support the channel. You can also support the channel over at ProWrestlingTees.com. Search Kyle Peterson. And don't forget social media. SirPaul64 on the X, the _Kyle_Peterson on Threads and on Instagram. So for the Papa Shango Top 5, happy Halloween!